The temperature has hit to as high as 45 degrees in many cities in North America this week, that are above the average high for many regions. Does the sun need to take all the responsibility for this heat wave? Or our stars need to take some of the responsibility? Maybe it's not just the sun burning us. Maybe Mercury is too close to our mood, or Mars is picking a fight again. When fire signs like Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius are in power, things can heat up, literally, even though there is no scientific basis for the rumors of a major earthquake in Japan and Taiwan at the end of June or early July 2025. The rumors seem to stem from a comic book by Roy Tatsuki, which has been circulating online. Now, many official platforms remind that it's crucial to rely on credible sources, like official weather and disaster agencies, for information about potential natural disasters. But wait. Is it just me? Do you guys feel the sun turn into a giant hairdryer this week? More importantly, who do we blame for this heat wave? If the moon is nowhere to cool things down, we get grilled. This week, should we blame the sky? Is only North America being blown by the giant hairdryer? Where else is being in a frying pan? How about our horoscope? Hi there, curious minds and sweaty souls. Welcome back. Welcome to Power Up English. In this channel, we don't just tell you what your horoscope week ahead looks like. We help you understand it in English, level by level, word by word, because your future might be written in the stars. But if you can't explain it in English, how will you attract a Leo in Canada or warn a Scorpio in Tokyo? Understanding horoscopes in English isn't just fun. It's powerful. You'll pick up natural phrases, useful idioms, and real-life vocabulary that helps you talk about emotions, decisions, timing, relationships, success, and failure. The stuff life is actually made of. Plus, by connecting with your zodiac sign each week, you'll sharpen your English without boring textbooks. It's like checking your cosmic email, but in English. And even better, we do it with just the right balance of humor, mystery, and sometimes a little energy. So grab your iced coffee, turn on that subscribe, and let's see what the stars and your English have to say this week.
Remember, you'll learn new words from your strength and weakness as well as idiom from each horoscope for the week. Let's begin.
Aries. You'll feel an intense urge to jump into something new or exciting. Pause and think first. Smart timing will help you succeed. Your strength this week is confidence. You believe in yourself and your abilities. In other words, Aries naturally take charge and are not afraid to make bold moves when others hesitate. But your weakness is impulsiveness. You may act too quickly without thinking. In other words, you often act before planning, which can lead to regret or mistakes. The best idiom for Aries this week is look before you leap. It means take a moment to think before you act. Why it fits? Because your impulsive nature needs to be balanced with caution this week. Taurus. A shift in plans might test your patience and comfort zone. Trust the process, and you'll discover something unexpectedly rewarding. Your strength is patience. You're calm and can wait for the right moment. In other words, Taurus can endure delays and work steadily toward goals without giving up. But your weakness is stubbornness, unwilling to change your mind or try something different. In other words, you may resist new ideas even if they're useful. The best idiom for you is go with the flow. That means adapt to change instead of fighting them. Why it fit? Because you'll benefit more from flexibility than resistance this week. Gemini, you'll be full of ideas and energy, but trying to do everything may leave you exhausted. Pick your top priorities and stick with them. Your strength this week is versatility, being able to do many different things well. In other words, Geminis can shift between tasks and adapt easily to changes. But your weakness is distraction, losing focus due to too many interests. In other words, your curiosity can pull your attention in too many directions. The best idiom for Gemini this week is too many irons in the fire. Take a moment to think before you act. Why it fits? Because narrowing your focus will improve your results this week. Cancer, strong emotions could affect your communication with someone close. Keeping calm and clear will strengthen your relationships. Your strength this week is empathy, understanding and sharing the feelings of others. In other words, Cancer deeply connects with people and offers comfort and care. But your weakness is moodiness, changing emotions quickly and unpredictably. In other words, you can feel overwhelmed and react emotionally to small issues. The best idiom for Cancer this week is keep your cool. That means stay calm when things get emotional. Why it fits? Because emotional balance will help you avoid misunderstandings this week. Leo, you'll be in the spotlight and praised for something well done. Accept the recognition with grace and share the credit where it's due. Your strength this week is charisma. That means a special charm that draws others to you. In other words, Leo naturally attracts attention and can energize a group with their presence. But your weakness is arrogance. That means thinking you are better than others. In other words, you may ignore others' input or act too self-important. The best idiom for Leo this week is don't let it go to your head. That means stay humble even when receiving praise. Why it fits? Because balancing pride with humility will keep relationships healthy. Virgo, you may feel pressure to get everything just right, but letting go of small imperfections will save time and bring you peace. Your strength this week is precision. That means paying attention to every small detail. In other words, Virgos strive for perfection and rarely miss a flaw. But your weakness is overthinking. That means thinking too much about something. In other words, you may worry excessively or get stuck in planning. The best idiom for Virgo this week is don't sweat the small stuff. That means let go of minor issues to reduce stress. Why it fits? Because loosening your grip on control brings peace of mind this week. Libra, a choice will demand your attention, and waiting too long could cost you. Trust your sense of balance and decide. Your strength this week is Fairness. That means treating everyone equally and justly. In other words, Libras seek balance and avoid bias in decisions. But your weakness is indecision. That means difficulty making choices. In other words, you may hesitate too long, trying to avoid conflict. The best idiom for Libra this week is, "He who hesitates is lost." It's a famous idiom. It means, make timely decisions or risk losing opportunities. Why it fits? Because taking action quickly is more important than being perfect this week. Scorpio. Let someone see your softer side. It may surprise both of you. Not every risk leads to hurt. Some lead to connection. Your strength this week is intensity. That means focusing deeply and feeling emotions strongly. In other words, Scorpios commit fully and never do things halfway. But your weakness is suspicion. That means having doubts about people or situations. In other words, you might keep your guard up, even when it's not needed. The best idiom for Scorpio this week is, let your guard down. That means, be open and allow trust to grow. Why it fits? Because vulnerability can deepen your bonds this week. Sagittarius. Your enthusiasm is high. But don't rush into new adventures without thinking. A moment of planning will bring better results. Your strength is optimism. You believe good things to happen. In other words, Sagittarius sees the bright side and inspires others to do the same. But your weakness is impulsivity. Doing things suddenly without planning. In other words, you may jump into things before thinking them through. The best idiom this week is, think twice. That means, pause before you act. Why it fits? Because a little planning will take you further this week. Capricorn. Something may not go as planned, but adjusting your approach won't weaken your vision. It will strengthen it. Your strength this week is discipline, staying focused and working hard consistently. In other words, Capricorns aim high and follow through with persistence. But your weakness is rigidity, inability to bend or change easily. In other words, you may resist new methods or perspectives. The best idiom for Capricorn this week is, bend, don't break. That means, stay strong but flexible. Why it fits? Because adaptability will protect your goals this week. Aquarius. You'll get a chance to approach a situation in your own unique way. Don't hold back. Your originality is your power. Your strength this week is originality, having new ideas and thinking differently. Aquarius thrives on innovation and challenges the norm. But your weakness is detachment, feeling distant or emotionally disconnected. You may pull away from others to avoid emotional discomfort. The best idiom for Aquarius this week is, break the mold. That means, try a new and unconventional approach. Why it fits? because this week rewards creative risk-taking. Pisces, a situation requires your full attention. Don't avoid it. Facing it directly will lead to clarity and emotional relief. Your strength this week is imagination, creating vivid ideas in your mind. Use creativity to dream and inspire. But your weakness is escapism, avoiding real-life problems. You may run from challenges instead of facing them. The best idiom for Pisces this week is face the music. That means take responsibility for your situation. Why it fits? Because avoiding reality will only delay your growth.
As the sun is continuously releasing energy, opportunities are bright for the taking. So, remember, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and don't forget to stay wise. Your best results come from balance with patience. Thanks for watching. Keep shining, and see you next time.